Hi guys, and welcome to our Odoo live webinar. Today, Ann Jeanette Joe Chico, our business advisor, is going to take us through the whole Odoo project business. And any questions you guys have, you can ask in the chat, and we will try to answer them as they happen. We're also going to do a short Q&A right afterwards. And if you miss this webinar live, you can rewatch it again. It'll be online, ready to go for you. And with that, I think I'll hand it off to you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that introduction, Natasha. So again, welcome to the Odoo webinar for project management. Today, I'm just going to be giving you a general overview of how the project management and timesheet modules can be utilized in the system and how it may be beneficial for your company. And after that brief introduction, I'm going to walk you through the actual creation of a project and discuss the features like task and task assignation and how it can be a collaborative tool for your employees. And finally, I'm going to show you how we use it in a specific use case that's pretty popular. So in terms of selling a service and how that task is created in an existing project from that sale order. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and just start with the overview of the project. And I'm not sure if you guys can see my screen, but we'll go ahead and start with these slides here. So why do people use the Odoo project management tool? I like to think of it as kind of a fancy to-do list. You know, it gives you a modern interface that's pretty intuitive. You get to see your entire project as a visual. So for me, that's something I like personally. And it helps you stay organized in terms of setting deadlines, keeping a schedule, and kind of coordinating again between your employees and tracking the projects and of course doing analysis and reporting based on those features. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move on. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. So we're going to start with, again, the overview of the project. I'm going to walk you through how to create and configure these new projects. And, of course, the interaction between that happens during that time. And, again, start with that sale order. So I'm going to just jump over and exit here. All right. So if you guys aren't already familiar with the Odoo platform, it's a modular service, so we have different apps set up here. So I'm just going to start by clicking right into the project management tool. Okay, as you can see, this is what it defaults to. You have the projects that you already have in line here. So I have 3 current projects. Just from the screen, you can see how many tasks are in action right now. You have the ability to do overviews and forecasting for these projects as well. All right, so before I dive into that, I'm just going to go ahead and quickly create a project. So give me 1 second. So I'm just going to get started. Sorry about that. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and create the project, and it starts with basic characteristics like the project name, and also you get to choose an alias for this project, so you have an email that does a catch-all for this specific project. And you could go ahead and allow forecasting from here and allow timesheets, so that enables you to do things on billable hours. So I'm just going to call this Wedding in Dubai. Go ahead and create that email alias and hit create and edit. Alright, so this is the full edit screen that you get for the project management application for the certain project. And again, I already went over these certain topics here, and let's dive deeper into the settings tab. So from this, you have the functionality to go ahead and pick a project manager. If you already have employees enlisted in your contacts here, you'll find this drop-down menu to be accessible, and you could go ahead and create a certain employee or a project manager on the fly. And then you have the ability to do subtasks for the projects. I'll dive into that in just a little bit, so I'm just going to breeze right over that. And you do have the ability to choose a privacy setting here. So that's pretty useful in terms of, say for example, if you want a certain project to be private just for your own viewing pleasure, you can go ahead and do that. And again, this is pretty collaborative, so if you have any other employees involved in a project, you could go ahead and make it visible to them and any following customers. So with that being said, if you wanted a customer to view the progress of their actual wedding planning, they can have that ability here. and you have the ability to do customer ratings. So what that does is, if you enable that feature, if you change the project into a different stage, which I'll be talking about in just a second, they'll receive an email based on how satisfied they are with the current service. All right. And let me go ahead and talk about these smart buttons right up at the top here. So if you have any documentation related to a project, you can input that here, and you'll see the tasks that you've created on hand. So these are just simple, accessible buttons that make the whole process a lot easier. So I'm going to just go ahead and click Save here. So now this project has been created. So if we go back into our breadcrumbs, which is the projects button right here, you'll see now that my wedding in Dubai has been created. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click into the wedding in Dubai. Alright, so now you see a blank canvas pretty much. So with the projects management tool, we usually strategize based on different stages that you can move the project through. So I'm going to go ahead and just create a few stages on the fly. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and interview my prospective couple because, for this demonstration, I am a wedding planner. Couple, add that, finalize a budget, finalize a guest list. Alright, so I set up 3 simple stages here, and I'll go ahead and show you what that entails. So within every stage, you have the ability to go ahead and edit this stage. So I'm going to just click into that real quickly. So with this, you have the ability to, of course, edit the name of your stage, and you could go ahead and select an email template. So say, for example, for all your new prospective projects that you have, you could send them a welcome email or something of that nature. And with these stage description and tools tips, you could see here that there are different color coordinates for the stages that are either blocked or ready for the next stage. So this is again on a drag and drop method, and I'll show you that momentarily. So I'm going to go ahead and just hit save. And now I'll be showing you how to enable a task or create a task. Alright, so with interviewing a couple, I'm just going to say interview with Bob and Carol. So now that we've created a task, I'm just going to show you real quickly how this could be moved through the stages with the simple drag and drop. So you could go ahead and move it into a stage, and from here you have the ability to mark things as a priority and to schedule an activity right on the fly. So now that I've clicked into the actual task, this gives you a better sense of the details that can be enabled here. So to the right is actually what we call the chatter, and this is pretty much a default setting throughout the entire Odoo platform. And within the project management tool, it's pretty powerful because you have the ability to send a message directly to your consumer or your client, or you have the ability to log notes as well. And similarly to like social media, you have the ability to add somebody. So say for example, if there's another employee involved with the projects, the list will be dropped down right here. And again, with the schedule activity feature, that is found right here at the top. So let's go ahead and dive back into the actual task. So again, you can see that a task is related to a certain project, and that could be highlighted right here. And you have the ability to assign different tasks to different people. Again, another collaborative feature. And another useful thing that you have here is the ability to create deadlines. So again, project management is usually utilized, just for that very essence, is to stay on top of whatever you have to do in your to-do list. So I'll go ahead and just set a deadline here. And tags are another important feature that could help filter things, and it's pretty powerful in terms of reporting as well. So I'll just go ahead and give it a random tag here. And at the bottom of each task, usually you have the ability to have timesheets enabled here. So I'm going to go ahead and just plan some hours for this task here. Actually that's a little too long to interview someone, so let me go ahead and just put 2 hours on there. And you have the ability to save that. So now you could see that 2 hours have been allocated to just interviewing with Bob and Carol here. So I'm going to go ahead and take you back into the original project default screen. So now that you see we have a streamline of different projects, I'm going to go ahead and show you the interaction between the certain tasks and how assigning things can be handled there. Okay, so give me just 1 second. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just click into one of the tasks that I already have a little bit more fleshed out. So, wedding in Maui. Now you can see that there's several tasks already put onto this project here, and again it has been moved through different stages, and you could see the certain tags in action right here. And also from this very screen you could see who's been assigned to it. So I'm going to go ahead and just click right into here, and again I'm going to show you just a little bit about how the timesheets can be accumulated and how you can plan for billable hours here. So for the client's ideas and checklists, it says that we have initial planned hours of just 1 hour. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how someone could input some time. So the employee that's been assigned to this is Mary Fior, and respectively you can have somebody assigned to it, but somebody else can be inputting hours in terms of, and again it's a collaborative thing. So if say Mary didn't have time to do this client's ideas and checklist, somebody else could be assigned to that task. But for the sake of this demonstration, I'm just going to keep it singular with one person only. So let's go ahead and add the duration of the time that she actually logged in. And now you can see the remaining hours spent for this certain task is now 0 since she's already done it. So the progress is again at 100%. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save there. Alright, so that's pretty much how you could input certain times in certain timesheets. And that's a very effective tool. So while we're on the subject of timesheets, I'm just going to go ahead and click in back into the overall Odoo dashboard and show you how timesheets can be enabled here. So now that we've tracked some time in our certain project, we have a separate module just dependent on timesheets. So you could see the projects that are related to all the hours that have been allocated here. Alright, so again, you could go ahead and do reporting based on employees, by the project, or certain tasks, and even at billing rates. And what's useful about the timesheets module is that, again, it's utilized for billable hours. So say, for example, if you have a big project and you don't have a fixed rate for them, you could go ahead and input the hours here, and you could go ahead and coordinate the cost per hour in this application as well. So now to jump back into the projects management tool, I already showed you how the timesheets can be allocated in any of these projects here. Alright. So another thing that can be made easy from the projects tool is the filters that you usually have. So if you have multiple projects like we do internally here, sometimes it could be hard to kind of see the different projects and what tasks are at hand and which is prioritized. So again, we have certain functionalities like filters, and you could go ahead and add custom filters. So say, for example, for the tags that we've created, we could go ahead and find wedding. This is just a simple feature to try to find all the specific tags that you have. Ooh, looks like you come into a little roadblock here. Let me go ahead and edit that. And then you can have the ability to also group by different managers or different contacts. So these are just like smart features that help kind of stay organized within the same plane here. Alright. And just to talk about the different features up at the top, because I haven't touched yet on the menu options, is that from this dashboard you do have the ability to forecast the different projects, say for example by a grid view, by user, or by the projects, just to give you guys a little visual on how that looks. Let's go ahead and click right into that. So say from a different perspective, if you're a manager and you're trying to see how many time has been allocated to a certain project and how many are in progress, or the different individuals that have been assigned to things, this is a quick view for them to see is on a grid. And more commonly used within the project management application is our Gantt chart views. So let's go ahead and click right into that. So usually what people use Gantt charts for is to see the time that has been accrued for a certain project. And in this default setting, we see that it's been set to certain employees. So you see how much time they have on a certain project. If we go ahead and click the plus, you could see what the project is specified for, and if they're in good time, it'll be showing in green that they're still on point for target, and when it turns yellow, that means it's their due date's just a little bit closer. So Odoo does have different color indicators for that purpose here. Alright, so that's pretty much how the forecasting is utilized within Odoo for this specific application. And let's go ahead, and I'm just going to dive right back into the projects real quickly here. Okay, so after you've seen the forecasting as listed in these views here, let me go ahead and touch a bit about how tasks could also be divided into subtasks. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click right back into the wedding in Maui. So we have the normal task individualized right here, but you also have the ability to create subtasks in Odoo as well. So subtasks are usually used for smaller details that happen within a project. Okay, so say for example, I clicked right into a subtask here, and this is for clients and ideas and checklists, and you could see that the project that it's related to is the wedding in Maui, and you have the ability to check into the parent task that it's been created from. So the overall task was wedding in Bali, and you can see that there's 2 subtasks here. And again, with the chatter, you have the ability to see what has already been done in this project, so that's useful here. Alright, so after clicking into the subtask, this basically shows you again like how far something has been in progress, and it helps just a little bit more with dividing the things on your to-do list. So now that I've kind of touched on the fundamentals of the usability of the projects management tool, I'm just going to show you how a task could be created in an existing project from, say for example, a sales order. So I'm going to jump back into our default dashboard and go right into the sales application. And if you aren't already familiar with our sales application, we do have other webinars that relate to this, but I'm just going to breeze through it and show you how, again, a sales order can prompt a task in an existing project. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly create a sales order, and I'll just go ahead and make a customer on the fly. And from here, you have the ability to select your different services or products here. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on something that's already been created. So now that you see, we're going to go ahead and hit save here. And I'm just going to confirm the sale for the sake of this demonstration to show you how a task is going to be prompted. Alright, so now that we received a sale order for a wedding in Bali, a task has been created. So you can go ahead and see a project overview simply from these smart buttons up at the top. And I'm just going to go ahead now and click into that task. Okay, so now we do have the wedding in Bali here, and I'm just going to breeze through a normal sales flow that would happen now that a task has been created. So now that this task has been created in the project for wedding in Bali, you have the ability to assign it to someone here and to create a forecast. And again, up at the top, we do have the different stages, so everything is synchronized here. So I'm going to go ahead and just assign this to myself. Alright, and see, now that has been prompted. And let's just see, I'm going to go ahead and click right in here. Sorry about that. And we're going to go ahead and go into the project now. Let's see. So it looks like for this certain task, there's already been an initial planned hour here. So let's go ahead and just document some time. And what Odoo also has as a timesheet feature is that we have a Google plugin for this thing called Awesome Timesheet. And as you can see here, this is kind of a smart feature, so it's kind of like a punch in, punch out kind of methodology that we have here, made easy. So say for example, if you wanted to link this certain feature to a simple task, we could go ahead and start to address some time here. So I'm going to go ahead and pick that wedding in Bali and show you how this little feature can be synchronized with the time that's allocated here. So as you can see, this timesheet is related to the original sales order that we see to the left of our screen. And let's go ahead and hit save for that. And let's go ahead and just track some time. So I'm going to go ahead and say I put 2 hours in it. Alright, and start that. So let's go ahead and see how that reflects on our actual timesheet here. I'm going to go ahead and hit a hard refresh just to see if it shows up. And now you can see with that punch-in method, some time has been tracked with the duration right here. Oh, looks like it didn't synchronize properly, but let's go ahead and move through. So that's pretty much how you can utilize a sales order to create a task in a project. And now if we go right into the project from this screen here, you could go and see how many tasks have been created in that certain project. So now you see the sales order now represented in the entire project management tool. And that's pretty much how the integration between one application moves into another in Odoo. So hopefully that showed you guys how easy it is to use a project management tool and how interaction can be done throughout the entire process. Alright. And simply from here, another feature to point out is that if you do have timesheets accrued and you are in a servicing company and you bill by the hour, you could go ahead and reflect back into the sales order for that invoicing. So say for example, with this here we have the wedding in Bali, so let's go ahead and take a look at the original sales order here. So it looks like we have $700 and it goes by units of measure, which is per hour. We could go ahead and create an invoice for, let's say, some invoiceable lines that have happened here. That's because we didn't actually bill them on anything yet. So let me go ahead and quickly just make a time stamp here so we could actually bill them on an invoice. Sorry about that. Give me just 1 second here. Go ahead and hit that duration because there's 1 hour here. Go ahead and save that. And now that the progress is completed, I should now be able to invoice for this certain sales order. So now let's go ahead and create an invoice. Let's see, this better work now. Alright, so now as you can see, since an hour has been accrued to this certain project, it is now invoiceable. So that's a significant feature for somebody that actually utilizes this for a certain service. So let's go ahead and validate that here. Alright, so that's pretty much the entirety of how a normal sales flow would go. So say for example, as you saw, we created the sales order. It enabled a task to happen within the Wedding in Bali project. And you could see how a certain time that has been allotted can now be invoiced within that same module there. So that pretty much leaves us with Q&A.
Right now we don't have any questions yet, but hopefully some will come in soon. And if not, people will be able to reach you pretty easily over your email. What's your email again?
anj@odoo.com.
Perfect. So if you guys have any more questions, feel free to reach out to Ann Jeanette there. I'm not seeing any more questions in the chat, which probably means that you just crushed that
Breezed
presentation.
right through.
If you guys like this video, please press the like button, subscribe to our channel. Feel free to share it, and the link will be there. If you're just coming in halfway, you can still watch the whole video through. Thanks so much, you guys. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.